So machine identity management is something very critical to businesses. Time and again, we've seen many real world breaches resulting due to mismanaged machine identities. So how do you think enterprises can prevent them, Ravi?
Great question. So every artifact has an identity, whether it's in the data center or at the edge, be it a user, a device, a thing, an application, everything, right? Being able to identify a device is extremely key. Uh, One, to authenticate a device and make sure they get access to the right things. And given that a lot of the workloads out there are moving to the edge, it takes um, it becomes even more paramount for us to be able to identify who is executing those workloads, or what are those workloads that are getting executed, what are the different data components that it has access to. Being able to identify every one of these aspects is paramount to be able to maintain the confidentiality and the integrity of anything that we do, right? And as we look at a lot of these identities, again, they span a wide spectrum. So some of the archaic systems still work with usernames and passwords, and we have to be able to go there and say these are unique across devices. Or on the other end of the spectrum are hardware identities. But much of the world still relies on PKI as the basis for a lot of the identities for devices or for any of the artifacts, for instance. And we have to be able to address every one of these different artifacts within the spectrum. And as we start to look at how we resolve some of these, we have to put in processes and tools to be able to monitor all these identities across different artifacts, be able to manage them very effectively. And the whole goal of this is to be able to maintain that trust, that integrity and confidentiality of all of these identities, because that really forms the foundation for any security paradigms that we build on top of it.
Right, got it, Ravi. So what do you think is the most critical aspect of machine identity management?
So, given the explosive growth we have seen of all the devices, workloads, and data at the edge, um, the way to really manage this is not manual anymore. It has to be completely automated. We have to be able to go there and monitor, manage, revoke identities, replace identities, renew identities. We have to be able to manage all of this in a very, very automated fashion. And that is not where it ends either. That is just the beginning. That's just the provisioning of a lot of these identities. But as we get to more and more sophisticated use cases with the uh, with identities getting through the entire chain, with the transfer of trust or the transfer of ownership between different players, or being able to manage and facilitate replacement of devices, we need to be able to manage all these identities. And the only way to maintain any level of sanity as we go through this level of complexity is through automation.
Right. Thanks, Ravi.
Sure.